Hello and welcome to a video discussing structure and general thoughts about Supercoach 2023 going into round one. It's George from Fantasy Take TV. I don't really have a set plan for this video, so I'm just going to wing it basically. But as I said, talk about structure, talk about how we feel after the preseason games, and yeah, just where we're at with how my team looks. So I'm not going to show my team. I'll do the team reveal this week, probably Wednesday or Thursday, fairly early, so excited for that. My sports deck team, well, my dream team is set. My AFL fantasy team is set, so not touching them. Obviously, last minute rookie changes could happen. Supercoach team is somewhat set. Still going around in circles for a few things. Probably the two are to Jack Macrae or to not pick Jack Macrae. I'm not sure, and I'm just going to listen to other opinions on Macrae to try and help me with this one, but just love Jack Macrae, love him as a player, and just a few doubts over a lot of plays in the 600k range in the midfield. So don't mind Macrae. Otherwise, I'll get up to like a Clayton Oliver, and then the ruck line has thrown a massive spanner in the works for me. Just because I've been set on Wits for so long, and I just watched Sean Darcy dominate 2 weeks in a row, and Wits was really good too. He beat Bruce pretty convincingly. But yeah, old mate Shrek was phenomenal. So I got a decision to make. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna probably go with Wits, and then I know our Discord where they are all going Darcy, Sean Darcy for sure. 90% of them. None of us are going English. Might be one or two Gorns, because it looks like he'll get DPP. But yeah, they're all going Darcy. So I like Wits for durability and the good buy, but Darcy was, he was so good. So something to consider. But yeah, they're probably the two main ones. Probably the third one is Harry Sheezel. It's pretty negative on Sheezel just because the role wasn't that good for the most part. But I did read an article today saying they threw him behind the ball in the fourth quarter and he racked it up. They were making comparisons to like what Nick Dacos did, and they might throw him there a bit more. But with Clarko, he throws around his first year players. He did that at Hawthorn. He's known to throw players around in the first year. So he's one where if he stays at halfback, he could probably make 200k. But if he doesn't, and he's on your field, you're probably going to get a bad score. And I think this is a year where there's so many good mid prices. I'm not sure we can afford like shit scores on the field early at all. So it's something to weigh up. Might even go him on the bench, but see how we go. I think this year, paying up on the bench will be good. I think there's a few 123, 117k traps going around. Not definitively, because we haven't seen their rookies. We're not 100% sure. We saw like Owens and Saligo just not ready early days, and then halfway through the year they come in and start scoring okay. More Saligo there, and like Ben Hobbs as well. Came in late. Ward started coming good. So some rookies might not be ready. It's just about figuring out which ones. And I think a lot of the rookies that you can pay an extra 50, 70k for are actually going to be really good. So they might be worth it, but you just got to find the balance. You don't want to kill your on-field team. So I think defense, how we're structuring up. I think you're going Jinby, Constable on field. Yo's interesting because he looked pretty poor, but I don't think it's enough to throw out that, how good he was or how good the PR has been on him, like back to his best, got his power back. He didn't look like it on the weekend, but it was a practice game, so how much do you want to take out on that? But he is fairly cheap, so he'll be in my team most likely, or almost certainly, but if you want to fade him, I'm not against that at all, but when you're this high owned, and if he pops off, it's going to be pretty tough. Especially if he ends up being a keeper, which I probably doubt, but I think there is a world where it happens, but I think it's more unlikely. I think Wilmot's probably your bench, but he's not. I don't think he's must have, but just someone to have on the bench who I think is best 22. I think he's ahead of the other young guys on the wing like Tunstall and Pryor and whatnot. Well, they have McGluggage, I think will rotate with Ashcroft on there. They got Berry. I don't know how they use him exactly, but I think Wilmot, maybe they want to settle there. I think they like him, and he can always float back. Dacos, I think people are jumping off. I'm still not against it though, but just not sure. I won't be won't be going there. A few people dropping McKenna. I can understand that. I'm probably going to pick him and play him on the field. I think he's just working his way into it. I thought he looked better this weekend than last weekend. Hopefully he can get a 60. Like halfback should be an okay role to do that in, and he's done 80 in the past in that role. But I think this time is Rich and Coleman ahead of him for rebounds. So yeah, regardless if you're third line halfback, I think you can still do 65 plus, and he's gotten 35 disposals in the past in that year at halfback. So maybe he can pull that out his ass. That would be great. So they're probably how you're setting up. You can go Liam Jones has come in. I actually like Crozier still. Where is he? I don't know. I think Jones is. It's funny because if he scored 30, no one would be touching him, and we know that he can pull a 30 score. But he played so well, taking intercepts, and was able to find a bit of the ball as well. So yeah, elite one-on-one, elite interceptor, fantastic job security as well, which is quite nice. And I think you think he's probably going to average 70 like he did the past 5 years he played or whatever. So I think he's a safe, kind of a boring pick, but okay. And then I guess you could probably line up like this, or maybe maybe you don't like McKenna. That's fine. You can maybe pick one or two 600k midfielders. Maybe you like Doherty. Maybe you like Stewart. The only 500k I don't mind is, how much ownership does he have? I wonder if it's gone up. Yeah, it has 7%. So Jordan Ridley, I'll tick Ridley off. He's the only 500k player I like. Just Essendon's game style is they're taking a lot of marks in defense. Like, I don't know if that holds for the whole year, but apparently that was the messaging in the preseason. And yeah, he's done massive scores in the past, and yeah, he played a little bit of key position last year, which was really, really stupid, and probably part of the reason why Rutten lost his job, just doing silly stuff like that. I don't know if they had injuries, but I just thought that was just not how to use Ridley. So I think they're going to use him to his strengths this year, and I think he can push like 100, especially because I have no idea who the D6 will be. I think the top 5, the 600k guys will be there again. You never know, it might not happen, but yeah, D6 like Ridley could be around the mark, so I was impressed with him. So I think that's sort of the structure. I think you could go Yo D1 if you want. If you like Crozier, for example, that you can fill out. Maybe you like Jaden Hunt. And there's a few others there. So I think, yeah, it's hard to pick those sort of players though. So I'm not sure on Crozier's job security as well. So yeah, I think you're probably safer going a bit cheaper with these sort of guys. So that's how. This is just a sample team. Throw McKenna on the bench, whatever. Not too fussed. So I think that's what the defense somewhat look like. Just 1 or 2 or 0 premium mids. Midfield, how many mid primos are people going in the midfield? It's an interesting one. I'm seeing 3 to 4. I'm seeing no 5, but I reckon I'm seeing mostly 4, and I'm seeing a lot of Josh Kelly. We're gonna chuck him in. What's his ownership? 4%. The interesting thing with Josh Kelly is the early fixture and the CBA. So it looks like they're finally going to settle him in the midfield. They don't have anyone else really. They've got the main 4 plus Callahan, who is playing wing, but might get some inside mid rotations at some point. So he's going to get CBA. There is upside here. I think he dropped to 140 in the practice game. I think people that have owned Josh Kelly in the past have seen that he looks so good, it looks like it's going to work, and then something goes wrong. And then they do it again the next year and something goes wrong again, and they do it the next year and something goes wrong again, even though they said you're not touching him. So for people like that, such as myself, like I can't bring myself to do it. I even did it in fantasy last year, and I just, CBAs all went to 0. I'm like, how did this happen? But I don't think that will happen this year though. So I would tick Josh Kelly off if you wanted to do it. Would I do it? No way in hell. Absolutely not. So that's just an interesting one I've seen. Save a bit of money. In terms of the top priced guys, you got Oliver, and so Laird's up to 22. I think people are swaying towards Laird over Oliver. I don't know if it's Oliver with what was it? They were they're rotating Kozzy and Petrarca. They're changing up the midfield mix. So like Kozzy and Petrarca are supposed to rotate at forward and half forward. Sorry, midfield and half forward. Doing some shenanigans there. They threw Rivers in there a little bit. They threw Harms more in there. Like they're just messing around with the balance. I do think Viney missed, so that's probably why Harms got more time in there. And then they threw Oliver at halfback, but for I don't know 10 minutes of the game. I think that's just for shits and giggles. I don't think that's actually a real thing. Clary seems to run out seasons pretty damn well, so yeah, and he's still pretty young, but plays a high contested style. Maybe they want to preserve him a little bit throughout the year. I don't know. Probably not though. So I still think you can go both. It does make it tough, certainly if you're trying to run these mid prices. I do think people should go one and not fade both, just because I think they're still the main captains. Obviously, I think Dunkley's looking pretty good as a captain option at the moment. But I think these guys are your good fallback, so I don't think you have to pick them, but I don't know, watching Laird on the weekend, yeah, the thought of not owning him, even at the price, is just, I don't like that. It doesn't sit well with me. I dare say he'll go 130 plus this year. It feels that way. Still has the midfield to himself. So seeing a lot of those two still. In terms of Jack Steele, so his ownership just keeps on going down. It's a weird one. And then you got a few others in the 600k range. Seeing a little bit more Neil, which is fine. Seeing a lot of Bont. Like Bont is 28% here, but 90% of the team, probably 99% of Discord has Bont. But more or less people are going the 4 plus Tom Green. So I think it's Laird, Bont, Green, I think are the main 3 we're seeing in Discord, and then it's whoever floats your boat here. Do you pay for Oliver? Do you go down to McRae? If you love Josh Kelly for some reason, people are going for Josh Kelly. A few still keen on Steele. I just needed to see more from him, and I just want to wait on that one. So that's sort of how the midfield structure is shaping up. And then people are still on Hopper, so I'm still on Hopper for what it's worth. But I think I was not impressed with his performance at all. He scored a 90 odd, but I don't know. He just didn't seem quick, but it was a practice game. He's had a managed pre-season. But he's going to get so many CBAs and so much opportunity for contested ball and clearances and all that, all the good things for Supercoach. So I still think he can do 90 plus. I'd be shocked if he doesn't, but I think the issues are just, is his knee 100% yet? Is he at full fitness yet? Is it going to take more time for him to work into it? Because he really struggled last year. So I still have Hopper, but I don't think he's like, when you're ranking the 300k players, I don't think Hopper's top anymore. And it felt like he was clear top, but I honestly don't think he is. But I still have him because I think he's good value, and he's like, the ownership is massive. What is it? 46, so that's gone down, but that's fine. So the next slot here, I'm seeing 3 players. I'm seeing Setterfield, I'm seeing Warple, and I'm seeing Finn Callahan. We'll throw in Finn Callahan for now. So I guess it's whoever floats your boat. You save a bit of money on Callahan. With Callahan's game, I don't love him on an option if he's staying on a wing. It was an easy win. I think he had 2 intercepts early that just fell in his lap, and he kicked 2 goals. It's not going to happen. I think this pick is one that I'm more than happy to let it go. But because he's only 240, it's fine pick and buildable. So I'm not picking Callahan, but he's in my fantasy team, but Supercoach, no. Just can't fit him in. But yeah, happy to fade him. And seeing a bit of Setterfield, he played really good, but it's hard to know what they do with him throughout the year. They probably play him to his strengths, but Shiel and Parrish scored like 50 each or less or something like that. So yeah, all the points went to Setterfield, and I don't think Essendon are any good this year, to be honest, but who knows. Probably should stick to fantasy. That's where I put my time, not into teams' wins and losses and whatnot. But yeah, I don't think Essendon, they looked pretty terrible, and I don't know about their game plan in 2023. So yeah, I guess it's one of those guys. Maybe people are just going straight down to a rookie and fielding. Yeah, Mackenzie will go Cam McKenzie, seeing a lot of him, so I think he's almost a must-have, just about. And then Phillips, seeing a lot of Phillips at M9, which is fine. I think he's actually my M9, and I'm going to field one of McKenzie or Phillips in round one. Probably be Phillips because it's against the Eagles. Although McKenzie plays, I just feel like all the time we see like rookies in round one just pop in round one and then they die out later on. So seen it for years now. Every year I've had a 100 rookie on the bench. Last year it was Hayes and Martin. Both of them didn't have on the field. The year before I benched Gordon. It's absolute pain. And Rochelle as well. I benched all three of them. Just the worst feeling because you're just giving up points that you shouldn't have given up. So hopefully we get that one right. I don't know which one, and if we get it wrong, it is what it is. So yeah, I think McKenzie looks really good. I think this draft crop looks really strong. Obviously got Ashcroft here. Forgot to put in. Everyone has him. Then you're picking your two rookies. So I think it's interesting because Baker wasn't actually supposed to play. He was in because I think Waitman was a late out. He was really poor in the intra-club, but they played him half forward and he thrived in the role. He played fantastic. So I think he might have bought himself around one berth, but he's one to keep an eye on because he wasn't planned to be best 22, but maybe he is now based on his performance. So he's one to keep an eye out for. And then you got whatever rookie here, whatever pops up. Say Alan Davey. I don't love this pick, but the DPP is nice. They should give him a run. And look, if he only makes like 100k, it is what it is. I think that, being 117 is a little bit cheaper, which is nice. And yeah, DPP is really, really useful. So I think there's a few spots there. They got Menzie, they got Tip and Woody, and Davey. So maybe they play two of them, maybe three. I don't know. So yeah, I'll look into it a bit, but I think he averaged 60 in juniors, which is not great, but if he can just do 50 or 45 and have one spike game and try not to score 20, which probably will happen at some point. Hopefully that doesn't happen. And then you got your ruck line. So with all the mid prices popping up elsewhere, I think people aren't keen on Radigalia in the ruck. They want to just set their ruck line and then just get mid prices everywhere else, or just more settle their ruck line, put it that way, and not have to field Radigalia, put it that way. So the ruck, you got your Rowan Marshall, so I think it's, regardless of what happens with Campbell here during the season, it's too much risk to go without Rowan, so he's locked in. Some people going Madden, some people going Radigalia. Do you go Madden or Radigalia at R3? I think preferably you go Radigalia, but if you're really happy with your team, then I think Madden is fine. So it's just up to you. You don't want to compromise premiums just for a 170k key defender R3. So the cover is nice. If you're going a Sean Darcy, durability issues, or Tim English, again, like probably worse durability now than Darcy, then I would probably feel more comfortable with Radigalia there. But otherwise, it's just whatever floats your boat. And then it's, as I was saying at the start of the video, I think the decision is the decision, like the LeBron James thing. Do you take the talents of Witts, Darcy, or Gawn? Look, maybe you like somebody else. I don't see it with anybody else, to be honest. I think it's down to these three for mine. I think Gawn, he'll get DPP, but I think the ruck time, less than 50% ruck time probably, or just under, and then you're paying 620k. It's very hard to justify, so I think we'll pick him up cheaper. But we know he has a big ceiling in him, but it might be one game where he spends more time forward and Grundy rucks more and he drops to like an 80, and when you're paying that much for a player like that, it's just hard to justify. So he's a no for me, but we'll jump on him ASAP when he gets forward status. And then that leaves Witts versus Darcy. And as I said earlier in the video, it's interesting. Darcy's ownership was 4%. It's jumped to 11. And Witts was about 11, I reckon. It's jumped to 13. So yeah, Darcy's had the bigger jump. So I guess it's whoever floats your boat. Darcy is slightly more logical because he probably, like, Witts looked fantastic, but Darcy looked even better, and he has the age on his side. And I'm probably not too worried about the Luke Jackson factor, just because they can do. Well, in the first intra-club game they played, Jackson barely even rucked, and I think Darcy's just the far superior ruckman. So I do think there'll be rotations there, and they'll throw in Jackson, but I think Darcy, when it comes out in the wash, I think it'll be 62 to 67%, that sort of range. So he was outstanding, like, just looked hungry, looked dominant. So he's probably slightly more logical, but then you got Witts, and you know that Witts has the better buy and the better durability. So, and he was better than Witts. He was better than Darcy last year. So he just has to back it up, I think. So I've been on Witts all this way until another option popped up, and the only one that I like is Darcy now. So I don't think you can go too wrong with either. I'll probably play the durability one with Witts, and we get the nice matchup in round 1. Another thing with Darcy is if Nick Nat is in doubt for round 1, they said there's no timeline. So if Darcy plays Nick Nat or West Coast in round 3, if there's no Nick Nat, then honestly, like, I won't be able to watch that game owning Witts. So yeah, we'll throw Radigalia in here. Forward line, so Dunkley's not debatable. And then you got I'll probably throw Gordon in next. So Gordon, I see a few people fading, and I think that's fine. And one thing that's worth noting about the forwards is I think Petrarca will get forward status. I was listening to, I think it's AFL Fantasy Fanatics. They do some good work. You can check them out on Twitter. And I think they had Mitch Cleary on, was saying, he was saying that Petrarca and Cozzy were going to split time at half forward and midfield, which means we might get Petrarca in the forward line. And I think with all these Sydney, plus Gawn as well, and with all these Sydney midfielders, we saw Mills play a bit more half forward. So is that going to happen more during the season, because they might want to give Gordon more time? So what if we get like a Warner or a Mills in the forward line? I'm not sure. And then it's like it gets very congested here, because if Mills gets it, Petrarca gets it, Gawn gets it. Well, I think you got to have those three, I think. So probably wouldn't make Gordon a top 6, but regardless, I just think you pick Gordon and you see what happens, just because he's just one of the most special talents in the AFL, and he's just had 45 touches and 3 goals. Yeah, he could pull a 200 this year. And yeah, I would like to be on the end of that rather than not. So I think Gordon's probably a defensive pick at this point. You just ride it, see what happens, see if he needs to be upgraded later. I don't know what he's going to average, but off 40% CBAs, it's hard to see him going more than like your 100 to 105 sort of range. That's massive, like a massive challenge. So I think 100's more realistic, but I think you just pick him and see how it goes. You don't want to anti-pod it. I think most people are going with Taranto, and probably Rosie as well. Rosie at 80% CBAs. I'm probably Dunkley 1, Taranto 2, Gordon 3, I think. And then I'd almost say Rosie 4, just because I'm a bit worried about... Rosie has the occasional game with poor disposal, so his ratios can be bad at times, but he's underpriced still, and yeah, just a supreme talent. I do worry about Port this year. Not super keen on their prospects, but we'll see. And then you got Cogs as well. So, like, is Cogs better than Dunkley? No. Is Cogs better than Taranto? I probably have Taranto just ahead. Is Cogs better than Gordon? He should be. Is Cogs better than Rosie? Well, he should be, I think. But he's a bit more expensive. He's 29 years of age, and I think the worst durability record over the journey probably goes to Cogs. So you're looking for excuses, and he's the one I've dropped for now. So I think that's what people are looking at. I think you could just go this and then load up on mid prices. So what mid prices are people looking at in the forward line? I'm seeing a little bit of Jack Zeeble. Zeeble almost put in the same category as Parrish, where it just feels off. Like, Parrish was good 2 years ago, but he's just not I don't rate him as a footballer at the moment, just because last year he just got so many useless possessions, and I think the game's moving past those non-damaging accumulators. So it just feels off to pick somebody like that. And Zeeble feels off in a different regard where they have so many young guys there. They don't need him getting a heap of ball. Like, he's 32. Injuries, he's been pretty durable over his career, but when you're 32, it's and you're that price. I guess Liam Jones is a bit older, but he's basically a rookie. Whereas Zeeble, you're probably picking as a keeper at 350k, or you want to get 150k out of him, and I'm not sure he has that in him. New coach as well. So look, he might be a good pick, but the pick just feels off. So I'm not interested. But it could work out fine. And then you got probably the other one is Tanner Bruin. I like Tanner. I was really impressed with his game. I think this probably won't go too in depth on each player here, but he's a really good, from both games that I saw. I watched the second game more closely. Outstanding contest player. I think his outside game's got a bit of work to do. And I guess the issue here is, well, Chris Scott loves versatile players. Like, 1 minute he's in the midfield, then he spent the last 10 minutes on the wing. I think first quarter a bit more half forward as well, but half forward pushing into stoppage is not the worst, but obviously you want those CBAs to be as high as possible. I'm on the Bruin train. I call him Tan Tan in the Discord, and I do it mildly to piss off some people just because people hate it so much, and when they react to it, it's kind of funny, but I shouldn't really do that. But yeah, stupid name, like something a 4-year-old would call him, but it gets yeah. Anyway, move on. And then you got your Sam Flanders. Flanders is a difficult one because people look at Flanders and they're like, okay, why? He's got 30 touches, but no CBAs. He must be a trap. But I don't know. He was getting 40, 45 in the last few VFL games, so it's a bit of an interesting one, just because high half forward you can still do well. Like your Dylan Moore was doing really well at high half forward. Butters as well with low CBAs, but even more with low CBAs can score. So I think he can be in the mold of that. So I actually don't mind Flanders, and I'm considering him. Excuse me. The other one is Harry Sheasel, and probably McLean as well. So Sheasel's a hard one. I think I mentioned earlier in the video that they might play him off halfback. So if I can get a strong read on if they're going to use him more at halfback, I think I'll pick him. Otherwise, I'll probably pass. But yeah, he's posted some big scores, so he's an interesting one. And then you got like your Toby McLean. I'm open to fading McLean. I think I've got him at the moment. Oh, I can't remember. I actually might not. But with Toby McLean, the interesting thing here is when I was looking at the final or the numbers, he had 4 tackles or maybe 6 tackles or something like that, and I don't know, a whole bunch of clearances. Would have been 7 or 8. I can't remember exactly, but on the weekend, I think he had 1 tackle, 1 clearance. The role was much worse in the preseason games, both the intra-club and the practice game, than it was when he was high half forward around stoppages last year. So his role is different. So I don't want him on the field, but now it's sort of hard to pay that much on the bench. So I think I've been saying to the Discord, my stance on McLean is he is a luxury bench option. Just because the role, like wing sucks really bad, and deep forward sucks as well. A little bit of half forward as well, but I think it's more half forward and wing, not like less high half forward. So, starting more forward of stoppages, unless it's in the forward half. Because when it's in the forward half, I saw him a bit around stoppages there, but when it's not, I saw him stand further away from stoppage. So I don't love his role at all, and he's one that I might not pick depending on how things go. But yeah, I don't think I have him at the moment, so I think probably won't pick him at this stage. Just depends on what other rookies are, what balance I can run depending on what rookies are named and whatnot. But I think we probably have a good idea of which rookies are named. Even defense, forgot to mention, I think one of the Carlton boys looked pretty good, so I'd probably go one of those, whoever gets the gig. And then here, I think you got your Fergus Green. Fergus Green, I think, is a lock. I think his job security should be good. Kicked heaps. He looked good in the practice game, and he kicked 78 goals in 25 VFL games. I think those are the sort of structures people are running. I think, do you go 11 or 12 premiums, including Gordon? I'm on the 11 train, just because I think a lot of people with 12 have a lot of dodgy rookies, but I guess it's your faith in how much faith you have in the mid prices and how much faith you have in some of the 123k guys. But I do like 11 just because it allows me to fit a lot of the mid prices that I really, really like, and I want to see where they take their average this year. Like your Tanner Bruin, your Flanders, whatever 300k mids you like, and then you got Yo as well. Because in all honesty, I kind of want to fade both Yo and Hopper, but I look at their ownership, because I don't know, they didn't really pass the eye test in the second practice game, but you know, it's a practice game, so how much do you read into it? And they're cheap and high owned, so you could do damage not having them. But otherwise, yeah, I guess people can run. Another one I forgot is Nasaya, Wanganeen, Miller, really nice roll off halfback. Can't remember if I'm missing anyone else, so yeah, it's an interesting year. But anyway, that's all for the video. Just general thoughts on structures and what people are doing. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.